Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 152 of Shatter The Vain. This week, man, there's a lot to cover. Just a lot of topics, just general discussion about Vainglory this week. I got Chanchai joining me once again of the Pacific Northwest Vainglory server. Really awesome to hear how that server is going. Anyone in the area over there should definitely check it out. Even if you aren't, you can join, be a friend from far. Great community, great group of people there. But yeah, we dive into update 2.4. That should be coming this coming week. All the skins that are in there, the new talents that are going to be in brawl mode. It's a pretty exciting time, and as well, all the stuff happening in the Vainglory community right now. It is insane, the amount of esports happening, the podcast, the Discord servers, the streamers, the content creators. There is so much being done in this game right now. It is nearly overwhelming. It is hard to keep up. So we talk about all of that, some of the places that you maybe don't know that there's content at, stuff you should be checking out. So stay tuned for all of that on this episode. Got to mention the Patreon page over at patreon.com/shatterthevain. If you can support the show, awesome. If not, like I always say, I love that everyone listens or watches the YouTube version as well. Like, it's just great to have you guys here. But if you can support the show, fantastic. I think I need to come up with something else, a different reward or different tier, because doing a second show, we already kind of have the Halcyon report, although that's not under the Shatter the Vain umbrella. Yeah, I'll have to come out. I don't know if I could do 3 different shows a week. We can see, yeah. But yeah, check that out. Let's do it. Let's just get into this episode 152.
Shatter the Vain.
This is the 152nd episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, I try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. And every week, bringing on people from the community, people that love this game, do so many interesting things. And this week, I have Chanchai joining me once again. Welcome back.
Hey, it's really great to be back here, Brad.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure last time, and excited again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's I know it was kind of last minute. There's so much stuff happening in the Vainglory community right now. Everyone seems tied up, so I was glad I was able to grab you for at least a little bit here today.
No problem. Anytime.
So last time you were on the Portland Discord, Portland Northwest Discord server, kind of just launched. How's that been going?
The Pacific Northwest Vainglory server. Pacific Northwest Vainglory has been doing awesome. Almost right out the gate. Things have been going faster than I expected. When I first started it, I thought, we'll be doing some gatherings, maybe in Portland, maybe in Seattle, probably, by summer.
Uh-huh.
But I ended up doing gatherings in both places, like within a month of launching the server. So basically, since we've started, I've done a gathering in Portland twice. These are big get-together, and then I've done gatherings in Seattle twice as well.
Okay.
They've been a lot of fun. I've also organized these casual meetups where we just kind of spontaneously go somewhere, like out to Ground Control Arcade and Bar, or out to lunch appointments, and we've done that quite a few times in Portland. And actually, one of our members is going to be starting something up in Seattle, like next week. They're doing a nice casual.
Oh, cool. So he's going to kind of take the lead of the Seattle scene to kind of take it off of you a little bit.
Yeah, actually it's a she. It's Ashley. And Ashley is pretty awesome. She's been an amazing member. She's living in Portland now, originally from Seattle, but she's also was a member of Icon, and she was like one of their top grinders.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's POA, actually she's Vainglorious Bronze.
Nice.
And
okay.
she had... before playing Vainglory, she was playing Candy Crush. So, but she's awesome. She's really fun to play with. I learned a lot.
Nice. So has it been pretty good turnout at the couple meetups, gatherings you've done already?
Yeah, so at all the gatherings, they've all been really good. The turnout's been great. We got a good diversity. Some people that came to the first ones and each might not have been able to make the next ones, but then we got newer people that came in, and we get a lot of people. We get quite a few that also just they're not as active online. They kind of are there quietly, but then they show up, and that's been my experience in communities in general. For every like one vocal active person in the community, you probably have like at least 10 people that are kind of there quietly and just kind of read the conversation and come out and say, "Hey, we're gonna be out."
Yeah, there's so many like just even in Twitch chat, just lurkers that like I know like I'm watching the streams, but I don't have to say something. I don't have anything to add to the conversation sometimes. So sometimes you're just there, and then you'll show up when something big happens.
Right. I also want to give a big thanks to Shatter The Vain. You had me on when I had just 1 week after launching the server,
Okay.
and we saw big growth there, but we saw a huge growth right away afterwards. And to this day, I still get people that say that they found out about it. Shatter The
Oh,
Vain.
that's awesome. Well, I'm glad I could help. And I pop in, like I said, I lurk sometimes, but yeah, I have an insane amount of Discord servers I am now part of, which we'll get into probably later in this episode as they continue to grow. So it's hard to keep up with all the chats and everything. I don't know how you do it.
Everyone has their method. I obviously keep myself very busy with it. I'm finding that a lot of the desktop users will use will basically do it by mentions. Like they'll click on the upper right of their Discord client. There's you can kind of just identify those, but everyone has their own method. But yeah, we'll get more into the Discord later because Discord is blown up especially in the Vainglory scene, but all over gaming.
Uh-huh.
But back on Shatter The Vain, I think we're approaching like 200 members in our server,
Nice.
and I think Shatter The Vain is responsible for at least a third. Thank you again very much.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, glad to help. Cool. So what's kind of next for the server? Is it just kind of continue, or are you going to do like other pushes into anything else as you kind of
Yeah.
have maybe more time that you're not having to worry about the Seattle scene as much?
Well, it always takes a lot of time. My life is pretty much fully occupied with basically with family life, work, and now Pacific Northwest Vainglory, and then a little bit for actually playing Vainglory.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so there's going to be some server optimizations I'm going to be doing. That's exciting for me. Exciting for the group, maybe. We'll see. That's on the effect. We are growing in certain areas. We're still seeing good growth, and we still want to do more events. In fact, in about 2 weeks from today, we're going to be doing the next Portland gathering. I'm excited for that, and that's right before London. And I am planning to go to London for the Unified Championships. So I'm really excited about that. And that's probably the only reason I'm not doing a Seattle one in May. But we are also doing, at the end of June, we plan to do it back-to-back, a Seattle gathering and the next day a Portland gathering. And that should be really fun. There's a lot more excitement, or a lot more announcements about that later. Can't go into too much detail now.
Okay.
But we have a lot planned for the end of June.
Man, okay, cool. Yeah, and going to London as well. That's pretty awesome. I don't think I'll be there. I don't have any plans. I haven't planned that, so I probably won't be there. Yeah.
Wish you could be there. It's hard to expect most people to be able to make it from North America, but some people are, and I'm excited. I found out Bleeko's going, and so we were kind of chatting about possible things she can do. But really, her and Arvin are a pretty strong team, so I know that Arvin's got her covered, and they're going to come up with stuff there.
Yeah, I saw her streaming, trying to like she's raising money for it, so like to pay for that trip. So that's probably a good way to make that happen.
Yeah, well, definitely, and she's definitely hitting that number. So yeah, I have no doubts. Also, with other things that we're doing with Pacific Northwest Vainglory, well, related to Pacific Northwest Vainglory, I've actually been communicating with other people around the country and seeing what they're doing. So first, big props to Brian, or formerly known as Brian Glory, and his BGNY that he started up, because they're doing a huge gathering next week.
Cool. Yeah.
Which will be this coming Sunday or Saturday on the 29th. I'm like really proud of what they're doing. Has nothing to do with me, but just more of like as a fellow community member, as somebody who really wants to get their local scene active.
Mhm.
I'm really excited about that one, and I know I kind of have an idea of what's coming on that one, and I'll just say that it's probably going to be worth watching or listening to as it happens.
Oh
Probably going
wow,
to be
okay.
podcasted. So I know he's not giving out the details, but I'm just kind of hinting it out there that follow the Twitter, especially VGNY,
Uh-huh.
VG New York, and you'll probably find some good info. And he's gonna have some other community members that you may or may not know involved with that too. Um,
Okay, cool. I know
and
last time Dragonborn and some other people came to, there was a New York one, so a lot of people showed up to that.
yeah, I'd heard about that. And this one's not going to disappoint. There's only one thing that's disappointing about it, which is they're in an awesome space, but there's limited availability of space. So because of that, you do have to RSVP to this one.
Okay.
And for anyone that has RSVP, has registered on the Eventbrite page but cannot go, please delist yourself. Do your community a favor so that they know that they can let other people know that they can go.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
always the worst when you're on the waiting list and you're like, "What? You didn't show up? I could have went." And
Exactly, and there is a waiting list on this one. I do know that, and because it did get overbooked, but it should be awesome. Everyone that's going to go is going to have something wonderful to remember. In
very
addition to,
cool.
so I'm excited about that. Found out that Chicago had a group that been get together. Utah has currently got a group that's getting together.
Hmm.
So I'm excited for all of them, and I've been kind of talking a little bit to leaders in Los Angeles, other areas. So I think this thing is happening. We're going to be having more gatherings.
That's cool. I feel like you helped spark a lot of these people to be like, "Wait, I could do this." I know Brian had the uh, New York one for a long time there, but I don't know, it was like your push kind of reminded people or got them like, it's like I can do this too. Yeah, let's get this going.
Um, as much as I'd love to take credit, I believe that I'm one part of many things that's happening in the community. The community has just risen.
Hmm.
And maybe we'll talk about this later today, but there's just so much happening in the community side. And I'm happy because I think I know that 2 years ago, before I was active, the community was also pushing a lot of things. And that's how SAMC got kind of like a fire lit under them to do all these different things they didn't even expect to do.
Yeah.
But then last year was almost like the year where SCMC says, okay, community, we're trying to do our best to do all these things. So then the community kind of sat and watch and experience and enjoy these things. But I think like this year, it's like community's like, okay, SCMC, watch what we're gonna do this year because we're doing a whole bunch of crap. you know?
Yeah, I guess that kind of leads into this first topic. I kind of wanted to get into a couple other things happening in the game, the community, like you said, before we jump in the news, because we were chatting about this in Vain Shame's Discord server, which everyone who's in there, it's a fantastic group of people that kind of we just chat about maybe problems and issues, and everyone kind of is very cordial about it. So yeah, it's always a good conversation that sparks a lot of ideas. And one of those ideas is like there is so much happening in the community, and people are doing a lot of things that is there some sort of burnout happening? Because like you said, last year, Vainglory, Super Evil Megacorp, they did all the events. They did PAX. They did live championships in NA and North America, all right, in EU and North America. And this year they said no PAX. They're not doing that. They kind of simplified the championships. That's the unified championships after each split. So they scaled back, and the community was like, we're gonna step it up. But is there like too much now? Are you having a hard time keeping up with everything?
um, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's ever too much, obviously, but I definitely do know that this community is incredibly passionate, and so we work really hard, and a lot of us really push it to the max, to the point of burnout. Yeah, and so I think, at least what I experience, I'll tell you that right now I'm getting my second wind, so I'm on the re-energized phase. That's the optimism,
Okay.
because I was feeling the burnout just recently as 2 days ago, where I'm just like I am really tired and I've been working hard, but I love it. Um, but almost feeling like you needed a break, and and it's almost like when they're like, "Oh, there's not going to be a dev stream this week." I'm kind of like, "Okay, that's fine by me," you
Right.
know. um,
But
like for
that
this week,
sometimes like a
yeah,
dev stream not happening, you're like, man, is Vainglory themselves? Are they burnt out? Are they like
yeah.
just doing too much?
I will say that as the community works incredibly hard, and SCMC also works incredibly hard. I do feel that it did feel like that I've been observing kind of a lull or a feeling of everybody so put their nose to the nose to the grindstone so hard
Hmm.
that that some people were just kind of just quiet and the airways was kind of dead for a while, and I'm kind of like, what's going on? And noticed, maybe is it spring? Is it the seasonal thing? Is it that things have been exciting? I mean, this for me, I was feeling it shortly after some of the most exciting times for Vainglory 8 or for the competitive scene that I'd seen.
Yeah.
With challenge battles were amazing. Um, the drama that was happening. So bad for Echo Fox going down, but at the same time, but they went out like on like a high note, and so there's every reason to believe they're coming back very soon. Fortunately, not for championships.
Mhm.
But at the same time, Liberation gets acquired by Tribe, and they totally earned their spot, and everybody knew that how good they are.
Yeah.
So Tribe Gaming's got a lot to be excited.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Tempo Storm, so so I've been a
Yeah.
big fan for a couple months at least. So
Yeah, I like that org and what they've built. But yeah, the esports because of the challenge battles, like you can watch Vainglory 8 for what, 6 hours at least Saturday and Sunday, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays you have the challenge league,
I got
and
burned out following all of that, but I loved it.
right, and then like you said, the challenge battles. We have another one of those in 2 weeks. Like it's gonna happen
Yeah,
again, and we have a live final, the unified champion. So it's like, oh my gosh! Like I have to. I just came off of the last challenge battles, which were fantastic games, but we have to live this again.
so yeah, there's definitely that. There's I mean, this topic is really big on this lull that we kind of maybe feel, and I wonder if it's only just the really active players. I don't know. I can't tell if it's the people that are just kind of taking much more even pace with their Vainglory throughout the week.
Uh-huh.
I don't hear much complaining from them. I do have many of them on my server, but they've always been more of the quiet ones anyhow. So it's hard to gauge. At events, I can tell better what they go through, and so there, I don't see anything to worry about. But there are hot topics that have really kind of ignited, also kind of might maybe igniting this sense of a burnout or frustration.
Hmm.
So we should probably talk about. I don't know if it's too early to talk about some of those frustrations.
Oh yeah, I guess
Um,
one of those continue our topic was this idea. Uh, Dota 2 came out with this update where it was kind of basically gets rid of smurfing to a degree because they link your I believe it was a phone number to your account.
yeah. So with Dota 2, I mean, I just found out about this, and I was hearing it from Vainglory players, right? And what they announced was basically, um, if you want to play ranked, to get into ranked, you need to be registering your phone number, and that really limits how many accounts can be played in ranked per person, right?
Right.
Obviously, I mean, some kids will probably use their to put a Smurf on and sneak it in when they get that text message on that phone. But basically, Valve has taken it's a long history of Dota, but in now the modern history, they've stepped up to alleviate the concerns of the community. Similar problems that we have, right? Which is people concerned about too much smurfing,
Hmm.
and so try to keep rank to be a much more honest environment. And the theory then is to do it uh, by keeping it limited how many accounts are actually playing.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but then at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of like we don't really have a lot of streamers, but on the League of Legends side, there are a lot of streamers and I guess high tier players that just build accounts, level them up, forget about them because that's what they do on stream. We don't have a
Yeah.
lot of streamers that do that yet in the Vainglory community, just constantly new accounts. Let's see how far we can get. All right, next account, let's go. But League does this all the time, so I feel like they would have an incredible backlash from their players if they put something like this in. And I wonder if it could hurt Vainglory a little bit if they did this, because although most people are playing on a device that have a phone number, what if you're like a young kid that really doesn't have a phone? You just have iPad that's not hooked up, and then
Or just an iPod Touch. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
then you couldn't even do that because the community, the Vainglory community, is much younger than the Dota and even League of Legends community.
It definitely is. I'll definitely confirm that. But yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I do agree with the original philosophy for a lot of these games, which was they're building this awesome playground to play this game that has a lot of strategic potential, has a lot of a lot of great competitive potential, but they're also like your team sport. They're thing that you do with others, and it's exciting. So the philosophy being that let people enjoy it how they want to enjoy it. Of course, the problem is then we get into the whole trolling and everything else, and how much to allow. Obviously, the most vocal members of the community will say don't, like, zero tolerance on it. I'm a little more lenient on the trolls personally, but not on the trolls, but on that. I don't know if being super severe is the answer. But that's another.
Right. Because I feel like that group, although it seems like it's big, it's got to be pretty small, right?
Yeah.
The game isn't that big, and the people that are smurfing and trolling constantly, people run into them, but you complain about the bad more than you're like, I had this great match and we went 30 minutes and it was super intense versus like, I had this troll on my team that did this. Like that, it's
Right.
easier to talk about that.
I grew up with my life working in restaurants and customer service, and also when I ran video game centers, taking care of kids too. And so, something I will say, and it's easy to take away from the restaurant experience, which is that we naturally have negativity bias. It's good for survival. That's bad. I'm going to remember that so I don't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that do complain, and I'm not discrediting their concerns or their problem, because they're highlighting no problem. But a lot of times, if you're playing the game a lot, and I've noticed it's people that play it a lot, that it's like accumulated damage to like your bad experiences, and you're gonna remember that more. In a restaurant, if I asked you to recall like the worst meals you've had or the worst experience you've had, you're much more likely to give me like a list of the top 5 worst, right?
Yeah.
Or the worst 5, and then you are likely to give me like the best 5 meals you had. You'll probably tell me the best 2 or 3, and then you'll struggle to remember which one was 5. But like with all the bad experiences, you could probably even give me a list of 20 bad experiences that were just so terrible. And this is human nature. That's not to dismiss the concerns of people that are experiencing. It's not to dismiss SCMC's job, which is to kind of figure out this balance always. It's like, I mean, Dota's been around almost 20 years, and it's still figuring it out. 15 years.
Yeah, like you said, I think it is the people that play a lot, because one of the tweets, one of them came from woodworking, had him on the podcast a while ago, and he plays a lot because he also makes content. He's an analyst, so he's like in the game probably more than most people are. And he had a tweet about, like, he said, Vainglory at this point where it is unplayable without a full party, at what point do we do something about this? And yeah, this is a player that plays constantly all the time, sees these same people all the time because he is a higher rank, so you run into a very small group of people. But then I have a friend who just plays for fun, and when we see each other, he talks about like, oh, I'm building this on this character. I'm like, don't do that. Like, and so he probably has no idea that trolls or smurfs even exist in the game. Like, that's beyond him. He's building Frostburn on Kashka, like so things like that.
It's a big challenge, the solo queuer and the duo queuer's dilemma, right? Because if you're serious and if you're competitive, and more likely than not, if you're really competitive, I found there are people that, like I grew up most likely being more involved with an individual sport. Like I love tennis. I like playing fighting games. And this is like, okay, this is all in my control. It's all on my side.
Yeah.
But Vainglory is like a team sport. And so in a team sport, you got to deal with others. And if it was like an intramural league, you really got to deal with others, as opposed to a pro league where you guys are all formed, trained, and always focused on the win, you know? Um, but the competitive side of us wants to win and wants to have control. And so his definition of unplayable is coming from probably a need for more organized play for him, you know.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I wonder if maybe there's something to that. But we do have a guild system. We do have a team system. The team system is supposed to address that. At the same time, it is a video game which fits into our leisure activity. I love that matches are like 20 to 30 minutes,
Yeah.
20 to 35 maybe now. But actually now it's back to 30. So about 20 to 30 minutes. And so we want to be able to fit this on our time because we're busy people,
Mhm.
right? And woodworking is definitely a busy guy. I'm a busy guy too.
Yeah.
So,
It,
so we're in the solo queue and duo queue, you know?
yeah, and like because he's probably often making videos. Same with me when I make videos. You get more frustrated that the game went bad because you spent that time. You realize like I'm trying to make a video. I'm trying to make content for this game, and it's not going well. So now I'm even madder at it versus if I was just sitting on my couch watching TV and playing, like I wouldn't care as much if something bad like that happened. But it was the fact that you're
Right.
recording, you're trying to make content, and then you're getting mad at it, so then you're getting burnt out. It's like this vicious cycle, right?
It is, and well, and also his niche that he fills in is correcting the mistakes and pointing them out. So his eye is like sharply on all these mistakes, and it's also sharply on nefarious behavior too, or what he might interpret that. And that's another topic, which is how much of trolling behavior really is trolling behavior, right? And it's a tough one because I think for people that are seriously offended by it, um, if we start talking about maybe it's not always trolling behavior, they'll feel like we're gaslighting them or something, and telling them it's not, But I wouldn't be surprised in my experience. It was legitimately not as much trolling behavior as some negligent behavior.
Hmm.
But then there's also testing the limits. When a competitive player, sometimes you're going to test builds, especially in a public environment, as opposed to the scrim environment.
Right, like you just might want to see if these items are going to work. Though that game did not go well, and now you are blamed for this build that you built that wasn't the standard, build that everyone does, didn't work out, and now you're the one who lost the match and trolled. So, yeah. Whew. I don't know.
It's a hard one. I don't envy SEMC's position, but it is their job, and I think they do it honorably and know that their job, but they have to keep listening to the community.
Yeah, I know. So a while ago, they broke up, or they sort of broke up the parties and the duo queue, and I know somebody shared a quote or said something that Surprise Birthday said, "You guys aren't gonna like this. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't done this because it doesn't go well. Like, we can do it, but what was happening? So maybe." If your hotness, you might have been running up against a party of pretty good people, so you as a solo queuer are a little better than them, but they're a coordinated team, so it made the match a little more interesting. And now you're running against people that are mainly your skill tier, but it's an unorganized mess completely in the solo queue experience because you are solo queue. You're not always on the same page. So it is interesting that people are complaining about it still when we were told that you're not going to like this party's separate from solo.
Well, I feel like even in SCMC, it felt like they were probably also a little split on this topic before they implemented it. But at the same time, they showed they're willing to experiment, and they were transparent enough to let us know they're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, I was on the side that felt it would be a bad idea. I think Flash X also was on the side saying this is probably going to be a bad idea. And I'm not saying it's so much worse now, but different things have happened since. But Fuji and Woodworking were strongly on the side of you guys need to like make sure that 3Q is only 3Q and that solo duo queue only matches with solo duo queue. And they had a point, and it's a good theory, but I was more of like, well, like you had pointed out, I think there's kind of a rebalancing that's possible. These matchmaking are all happening at certain times, and it's left up to an algorithm, but it's because of this clash of simultaneous activity. I'm not a scientist, but I will say that like I felt it would be probably a bad idea just because um, it gets you to have a potentially. It seemed like it was going to lead to a greater level differential differentiation, right? Like one team just being stacked versus the other because it gives up. And so a change that they made was like at first 6 minutes was like the cutoff time, right? Because we still want fast matchmaking. After 6 minutes, whatever's best we'll try to do. We couldn't do it within that, right? And then so they had made the change to the hard split. The hard 3Q is only 3Q, and they did 6 minute was a cap. And then they later raised it because they're like, this is just really horrible, and people are complaining up the wazoo, right? So then they upped it to like 8 minutes, right? And now I don't even know what the number is, but for a while I had heard the number 8 minutes, and it was consistent because you kept seeing at 8 minutes people popping into a match after waiting long, and it was a little better, is what I had heard.
Yeah.
Um,
There still is I think it's like 9 minutes, 52 seconds. If you're a full party, you will just get instantly thrown against another full party. Like
exactly. Yeah.
You
It
could
doesn't
be
matter at the
POA
matchup.
and you might get a pretty good party. It's just like that time happened. Like you just have to get in a game because they realize like 10 minutes is the point where people are like, screw this. I don't want to wait.
Right. Exactly. And so that's when they implement that. So I'm on the side. I'm in the camp that thinks that it would have been as non-perfect as it was, as tough as it really was. I felt that the kind of the soft approach was good, which was that the duo queue and the solo queue could still get matched up with a 3Q. Just try to factor in the difference there. Maybe the 3Q was a weaker team, like you said. I mean, figuring out what it can do, it's really tough. We know there's a lot of players and a lot of people playing all the time, but just the odds of like in that moment or in those couple minutes
Yeah.
of fighting that match.
Now you get rid of these parties, you also limit the people. So if you had that troll on your team last game and you both queued right after the game, you're probably getting them again because you have half the players that are in parties and the other half are solo, and now you have this small rank that you probably get them again. There's a very good chance. Like I've run into the same people when you play, especially at certain times if it's late at night, you'll run into the same people over and over again.
Yeah. So when I'm listening to like what's being said from different groups, I think that sounds like what I've been hearing is some people will be like, okay, especially if they're in the lower ranks, they're like, man, the 3Q is brutal because I'm almost always up against the high rank 3Q because there's just not that many low rank 3Q.
Right.
And that would be my group. I'm like tier 6, 7, and I'm getting thrown against POA and sometimes even Vainglorious. But I will say it's more likely that the POA gets thrown against Vainglorious a lot whenever I've been.
Okay.
Almost always runs into a Vainglorious, just because there's more 3Qs in Vainglory. On the other hand, like what you said, at the higher levels, I'm hearing a lot of complaints about trolling in the solo and duo queue, right? So,
I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't
at the
think
lower
there's
queue,
anything-
solo and duo queue feels fun to me. So and on the lower tiers, but at the higher tiers and it's not a consistent, or it's not like everyone's complaining about. That's where I'm hearing a lot of concerns about the troll.
I don't know if there's a way to make everyone happy. I think someone's always gonna have a problem with it. I don't think that experience will ever be perfect because really the only experience you want that's perfect is I got in a game, it was pretty good and I won. If I lost, it was a bad experience. So I want to win every game and make it a good fight. I don't want to roll over them, but I want close matches. But I have to win. Otherwise, it was a bad experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is SAMC's job to always try to figure out something that makes it better. Right? I definitely believe I personally believe it's kind of an eternal problem. It's kind of like, Magic the Gathering players that play online will never stop complaining about the shuffler, because of random element. And I think all MOBA players will never stop complaining about matchmaking.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Dota's still dealing with it. So yes, they're listening to it. Yes, they're doing pretty serious steps right now, more than we've seen before, especially with phone number verification, which, like you said, it has the potential to cut off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, but that's because it's still this problem that's always going to happen, and we're always going to have the concern about, well, how much of it is a perception problem, and then how much of it is like the matchmaker really is broken. Not to be an apologist, but I honestly tend to believe it's more of a perception issue usually, except for, when we take drastic measures like hard split, I do feel, well, that just kind of, for me, I thought it made it worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Good luck.
the game is like super balanced right now too. That's it's funny that we'll always have these solo queue things, but now the game, like the characters, even each update, there's such small tweaks to the certain heroes that maybe are slightly stronger or slightly underpowered, and it's nuts that you can almost play any hero at the moment and do fairly well. There's of course a meta that always comes out as like the optimal way to play the game at the moment, but man, it's like almost too balanced. There's too many choices almost.
I I think it's a wonderful problem to have then, but
Right.
I do think the game is pretty well balanced. We don't have double ban in the server yet,
No.
or in the game client yet, but it's coming at some point, and at the pro level, it just, man, that is a great game they're playing.
Yeah.
On the low end, on my area, I think it's a great game we're playing because it is very diverse. We can still play a lot of different. And at my level, a lot of people still pick their comfort picks.
Yeah.
Away with that, but at least their comfort picks are working. Um, and it's still a game that does have quite a learning curve, but without being like as insane learning curve as the Dota. Uh, but yeah, it's a really. I feel like the game is really balanced, but I do hear people complaining different things, right? Some people say, "Oh, it's one of the complaints I heard was that it was very carry oriented," But I'm like, yeah, except for that the critical decisions are still like which captain gets picked.
Right.
It changes like changes where the power spike is. It changes where the team fights should and should not happen. You know. So,
But that's
go ahead.
that's on the team side, which and I think solo queue experience, you could just go 3 carries all the time and probably do fairly well in a lot of the lower ranks. Like you just want to fight, you just want to play these brawl modes basically and just fight and kill each other all game.
Yeah, that'll be the universal situation with at the lower tier, right? But as mistakes are more and more punished, as defense becomes clearly a better thing, at the higher tier, lower tier, a lot of people don't build defense; they get deleted by a Kestrel with, with,
With a couple shatter glasses and because you had nothing. Yeah.
yeah, like shield pierce, and the shield pierce just demolishes you. Yeah, and you're like, well, I built the one defense item. It's like you need more than one defense item,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I know on the low end, it'll always feel like it's carry thing, but it's also that's what brings the excitement for at the low level, right?
Yeah.
Is some guy who comes in and showboats and like deletes another team. But then as you get higher and higher, I do see a more and more balanced game.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from bugs like the alpha design oversight with the changes, but they fixed it right. They fixed it pretty.
Yeah. Man, yeah. I don't know. I feel like we just need a couple beers and just chat about what's happening in Vainglory. We're gonna run hours here, and we haven't even gotten into the news here. But I guess these are some of the things we kind of talk about in the Vainshame's Discord server. There's a link on vainshame.com. Like if you want to hang out there and chat with us, Brian Glory's there. Vainshame comes in when he's not busy, and a lot of other smart people in the game that I would say it's an older crowd. It's a very
I'll say
mature
so.
experience.
I think that server is definitely was one of the best kept secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Uh,
we're telling everyone now. Oh, but then there's been a lot of fun news this past week, so we got to jump in that before we go a couple hours here, just rambling on.
Vainglory News.
So the first bit of news is Baptiste. No, I talked about it last week, but he's coming. Update 2.4 is coming. I believe it's coming Wednesday. I don't think there's been an official announcement on the time or anything, but that makes the most sense.
that, that's my assumption too.
Yeah. But Baptiste, this is really cool. We didn't get a new hero in update 2.3, so I'm excited to see this guy, and he looks pretty awesome. I love his design. We sadly don't have any lore yet for him, which is
Yeah.
I don't know what Sugar Venom. What are you doing? Like we usually get
Sure.
lore before the update.
I think we're gonna get awesome lore. If people are really hungry for it, they can look up the Voodoo King, which is what he's based on. And he's definitely enjoying it, especially with the quotes we've. Yeah. But yeah, I think Baptiste looks really cool. Actually, really, really cool. Because,
Yeah, he's got a neat kit, and if anyone's been watching the streams, I know the PvE has been greenlit, so people have been streaming it and showing him off, and so you can kind of get a little taste and a little idea of what some of these people are building before you actually see him in game on Wednesday.
yeah. Well, it seems like it's all over the place, right? I mean, I think I heard about it and then kind of seeing it too, which is they said Baptiste is a kit where you could use him as a carry, as a jungler, and even as a rogue if you want.
Yeah, he might even be more versatile than Adagio.
Yeah, I mean, extremely versatile. A lot of crowd control in that kit. A lot of like mechanics that make him more tanky. Um, but he's a fighter, so I don't know. It's really cool to look at that kit, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. But I think he's gonna be one of those that are pretty good right out the gate.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna have to try him out in each role. I think there's going to be this might be the weirdest time or weirdest release of a hero because he's not the captain. He's not the assassin. You don't understand his kit right away. You're gonna see so much weird stuff. Just like Grumpjaw, we've kind of seen a build or for the most part kind of a path happen. But at the first, people were kind of all over the place with him. But this guy, I don't even know. It's gonna be crazy.
It is, and they're introducing the fear mechanic into Vainglory, so we'll see how people react to fear. So
Yeah. fear's a fear's an annoying thing because you
removes
don't
control
understand
from
what's
you.
happening.
Yeah, it's like you're taking damage and your hero's doing weird things.
Yeah. And then we got the 4 skins revealed that are going to be coming in update 2.4. We got Elite Force Saw. We got Night Shadow Taka Special Edition. We got this legendary Blackfeather, the Champion's Fate Blackfeather, and then the Red Lantern Flicker, which Red Lantern Flicker looks awesome. I wonder if this was something they had and it just wasn't ready for the Chinese New Year.
Maybe. I mean, there's that, but at the same time, if you watch that countdown reveal on their Twitter, the countdown of skins where they run through all 100 skins and then the flicker gets hinted at,
Yeah.
that was like a brilliant way to tease the flicker as the 101st skin by having, well, watch the video.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to spoil. I just want to say it looks cool. But yeah, all 4 of these skins look great, and I gotta give a shout out. Looking at the splash art and from a distance, I wasn't crazy about the Elite Force skins.
Okay.
And then once I saw them in game, I was like, wow, these look really good. Much better than I thought. So, yeah, I know it surprised me.
Yeah, I like the Baron one a lot. So this was the Elite Force Saw was the 3rd one, and I think it said they closes out the trilogy of the Elite Force skin. So we won't see any more of those probably ever or for a long time. So it's a little sad, but very cool to see this skin on Saw. But I think the Flicker one's my favorite. I love funny silly skin. So that's just where I'm at.
I think it looks really good. I was surprised too because with the flicker, I was just like, what is the flicker skin gonna look like, and like what are they gonna do to make it much more different? And then it looks really different, but wonderful way, you know. And
Mhm.
uh, yeah, I mean, I almost want to tease that it looks almost like Rescue Rangers to me, but
A
it's
little bit, yeah.
you know. But no, it looks great, and the response has been very positive. I think everybody I've seen said they really like that skin, and they were already digging the Taka skin, saying that that felt like that was an upgrade from the exclusive limited edition.
Uh-huh.
But I think that completes the set though of the existing limited editions now having SE skins.
I think so. Is that everyone?
I,
Rona,
I
because
looked it up.
Bunny
Yeah,
Rona
Ronan.
came after the Opal were introduced, right?
Yeah, so Bunny Rona's already there. I think this completes that. I think, and maybe now the OGs that have had all the LE skins, and because they have all the LE skins, they also get the SC skins, which I'm not sure if that's confirmed for Taka. But
I think so,
but
yeah.
now, but now you know now they'll actually finally be able to have things to use opals on,
Right.
because like it's like either somebody has all the LE skins when they keep complaining about their stockpile of opals, whereas everybody else is starved on opals. You
Right.
know?
Oh yeah, so the next Opal skin will be worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
All right, that
cool.
was a bit of a tangent there, but yeah.
Uh, and then we have a bit of info about the Brawl mode talents. I haven't really watched anyone on the PBE playing Blitz or anything. I've seen them play the Baptiste and stuff, but it sounds like talents might be in or should be in 2.4.
Yeah, they're pushing talents. I'm pretty sure they pretty much confirmed it. I think Playoff Beard even confirmed it. Basically said, I mean, right now we have these double glory weekends because their big plan, they've said is, and I'm so happy they found more uses for glory.
Yeah.
Good, thank goodness. Um, but yeah, so talents will be coming in. When they initially talked about talents, it sounded like it was going to be a type of a grind system, to unlock them. But the Twitter post from Playoff Beard basically said that it's going to be all glory. I think if I read it correctly,
I think at
um,
first it'll be
that
glory.
at launch basically people can get with glory. That's kind of cool because then people can kind of jump straight into that, and we don't have to worry about who grinded the most on that and is destroying everyone. Because actually, these talents at first I thought they were just going to be wonky takes on the abilities, but it looks like they're not just different takes on the abilities. Some of them just outright improve stats on certain abilities.
Okay. Yeah, so that's really cool, and yeah, like I agree. Like using glory for something else is great. I think this may get me to play more brawl modes because I don't play that many of them. I like the game. I play the ranked normal 3v3, and so I don't get into brawl modes that often. So I think this might be a reason to jump into that more.
I yeah, I think I think the brawl modes definitely got more interesting. I think it's going to be harder for you to apply these in, let's say, Battle Royale, where you've got a randomly selected hero, and that's cool because Battle Royale, I think, is a great mode for beginners, for people to just learn heroes, right, and to kind of get used to those mechanics. And
Yeah.
with Blitz, that's a much more competitive environment. That's a pretty hardcore environment, actually. So it gets used a lot there. We'll see.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for those. We should see update or patch notes here. Usually the day before. So after this goes up on Monday, we usually either get those notes Monday night or Tuesday morning. So keep an eye out for that. And I'm sure there's lots of other changes and little tweaks and bug fixes as well. So keep an eye out for that. Continuing the news, gotta give a shout out to Time for Rolling. This new podcast, they've been on a tear lately. They even have like two separate podcasts now because they have the normal Time for Rolling and then they have the Time for Rolling esports, where they're breaking down every week, similar to what we kind of do on the Halcyon report, but a little more from a casual perspective and kind of what they saw and kind of what happened. So man, it's awesome to see, like we were saying earlier, more content being made, and it's hard to keep up with it all, right?
Yeah, no, the community's risen, and Time for Rolling definitely has definitely shocked me in a way. I mean, I'll call it out as the Bleako Empire, but because Bleako's been amazing. She has impressed me. I feel like I've seen a year's worth of unique stuff added to the community media from her, like a year's worth within 3 months.
Yeah.
Because she started the Vainglory art server, and I was always up on that thing. It's a great server for fan artists, and it gets them together, and it works like an artist collective. It's wonderful. And then then she does Time for Rolling. She was the guild leader for Sexy People, but then now it's Time for Rolling, which I think is a good move. And the podcast has been great. It's really filled kind of a void or created a niche for itself in the podcast spectrum. So I'm loving that we have all these podcasts.
Yeah.
The esport expanded. I mean, she's the type who just says, "You get stuff done." She's also another one who just gets stuff done, and it's really impressive. So yeah, and she also even does the Githian Tavern.
Yeah.
Discord server. She does a lot of things, even more. So big props to them.
Yeah, I know how long some of this stuff takes. So yeah, it's crazy to see her put in that much time.
Yeah.
Very cool, especially when you have people helping, like co-hosts and other people. She's not on the esports one. That's kind of a couple other people. So
yeah, they found good partners there. Arvin is a pretty amazing partner for her, kind of like on the lead podcast, and also they absorbed the Fold. They absorbed the guild, the Fold, in the organization.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah. So now, and that's a good fit actually, because I think they were reaching a very similar cross section of audience there, and a lot of people that were involved with, especially Love the Fold podcast. I think are very likely to really love Time for Rolling as well. It seems like a good fit. We'll see what comes from that.
Yeah. So I wonder? I haven't talked or seen anything from Maxo in a while. Did he step out, or is he still involved with that?
I have no idea on that aspect. Okay. But yeah,
have to maybe grab him and talk to him and see what his time in Vainglory has been like.
I definitely would like to see that episode, honestly, but or whatever it is he would probably bring in.
Yeah. So check out this. One of the most recent ones was with Sugar Venom. Really good. I know she was on the Fold long time ago and kind of shared her story there. So it was nice to get an update from her again and kind of just really how her job and role at Super Evil Megacorp has changed and evolved. And because when she was on the Fold and talked about it, it was much more of almost a casual relationship. And now she's like really in charge of kind of stuff there.
Yeah, she's really integrated with all of the everything. Like it's interesting how many different departments she touches through the role that she serves now. Amazing. And I also never knew that she's like Chainsaw's ex-wife, so that was like a surprise to me.
Yeah,
you guys probably all knew that. So.
Yeah, you learn fun stuff about people as they just ramble on podcasts and talk, reveal things.
Indeed. Yeah.
And then the last bit of news are all these community Discord servers. I know we're talking about the Pacific Northwest. You guys, your server is crazy loaded with all the different channels and everything there.
Yeah.
There's groups, and these other ones have been stepping it up too.
They have. I mean, I'm surprised. When I started about 3 months ago, I thought I was doing new things with this. And people were telling me, you're doing new things with Discord. Like, we like what you're doing, the channel structure, etc., and that like there's a lot more that we could do with Discord than we thought.
Yeah.
And now it's like that's all blown away because people are doing way more than I ever imagined with Discord. So we have the Vainglory Collective, which you've done some of the projects with them.
Yeah, so it's kind of a Gangstars related thing, but not really. But there's non-Gangstars people there.
Well, I think Gangstars people have kind of started that project.
Yeah.
But it really is a collaborative work with a lot. It just happens that with someone at the top, it feels like it's a Gangsters project, but the collective really is a combined. I would have been a part of it if I wasn't so busy with
Yeah, it's not supposed to be
Um,
Gangstars only. There just happens to be
yeah,
a lot of Gangstars people involved in it. So.
yeah, but it's also a credit to Gangsters because we've just talked about Time for Rolling, which is a guild. But Gangstars is an organization that works really hard for community projects, so it just kind of was natural for them to do that. But yeah,
And then,
so
yeah, out
so
of
there was like the barracks. The
yeah,
barracks is a learning environment on Discord.
hmm
There is I mentioned that Bleeko has done
the Githian
the
Tavern.
Scythian Tavern, which is supposed to be a broad community space. It's like a high population server.
Yeah.
And so it has very unique things it does there, which is very high population. I know that she intends for it to be like, she's hoping it'll be like the least toxic of the high population servers. Because there's another high population server, Vainglory community server, and I'm not dissing them when I say that it can get toxic in there. What that place is awesome at is there are so many people in there, and it's so structured for these different regions and everything else that it's probably the best form of a looking for group that you can
Yeah.
find. So if you go there, you're just looking for people to play with, you'll find it if you go on that server because it's just ridiculously high population and you just pop up and I can't even follow the chat. It blows by so fast.
Yeah. But yeah, the barracks and Githian Tavern have both been. They were both Vainglory Collective projects that are Discord servers. Another one there, part of Vainglory Collective, is a Girls for Glory. That's another Discord server just for girls. I don't know all the details in it because I'm not in it. So I just
it's hard for us to comment in a way on it, but I'm excited for it because it's a big topic.
yeah.
Girl gamers always is a big topic, and I know a lot of guys don't want to hear that. But also, in my work in Pacific Northwest Vainglory, doing events, having done the promo work also and worked at events for SMC, volunteer, there's a lot of girl Vainglory players that are really good, active, but they also have to deal with the typical stuff that girls tend to deal with in gaming. So it's awesome to have a place to kind of just address that, and also just kind of make their statement. But I'll tell you, even at recent gathering, a girl comes up to me, or an office lady comes up to me, or someone of any age,
Yeah.
that's a female comes up and they're there for the gathering, and I was like, oh wow, nice. It was like, I've been chatting with you this whole time. I had no idea, but that's awesome. And they are amazing to play with and chat with. Obviously, that's stating the obvious, but it's still kind of a surprise factor.
So if you're looking for the Girls for Glory Discord, the Vainglory Collective probably will tweet it out, but then Bleeko and Black Dahlia are probably great people to reach out to on Twitter or in the barracks or in Githian Tavern if you're in any of those Discord servers. If you're a female gamer and you want to get into the Girls for Glory, check that out. So
Yeah, I'll say also on Discord servers, when I started Pacific Northwest Vainglory, it was overwhelming for a lot of people. Some were even offended that I put so many channels, text
really?
channels, in there and structured them like these are read onlys, and these are news, and these are where we chat, and these are our more intimate chat rooms. That's like the structure I used, and now more and more people have gotten used to using Discord in different ways that it feels like, at least on the very active base, that more people are kind of used to it. I do still feel that Discord structure is kind of intimidating. Most people would really prefer to just have 5 servers at most on their list. And I've got 50 now, and I know that's a lot for people, but for me, it does weaken how strong the mentions are, though, because it means I can't go through all of them. I gotta pick and choose which ones I go to. And
yeah, I'll remove some after a while if I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't check that, or I don't need to be in that streamer's server, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I hope Discord, as brilliant as they have been, figure that problem out, or figure that potential problem out, because I think that is good. That's a limit to how you can use this thing, and but it's been surprising what they've done, and surprising what the community has done with it. And part of it is that for the most part, Discord has been very stable and very they roll out features every couple of weeks there's like new features popping up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it doesn't crash their system, or at least it doesn't crash it for more than like a couple hours. So so it's a big credit to the platform, and it's like to me it seems like it's leapfrogged the gaming group, fighting games and Vainglory, and the whole demographic like taking over where I thought maybe Ban would do that.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, Discord's, yeah, the place for a lot of Vainglory people right now. Another server is the We Too Sexy Guild. Like, they're
Yeah.
super active in there. You can join even if you're not part of the guild because they do
Yeah.
these giveaways with this merchandise they have, and so it's just a almost very active, just
Yeah.
guild server to be a part of because sometimes it's fun even if you're not in the guild just to grab players and find new people to play with.
Yeah, and that's actually the one that I mentioned that was the Vainglory community server because it has that title. But it is it is run by We Too Sexy.
Oh, okay.
But that is right now that's the best like looking for group kind of place. But also even SEMC is kind of working on the side on something, and I think that server seems to look really good. I don't know if it's official or not. I assume it was from the list of who's running it or who's moderating it and all that. But there's a really cool server there.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know how I found my way there anymore, but because of the way Discord works, I don't know how.
You're just on Discord too much. You're like, oh, new one, I gotta join that and check it out.
It's more like people are like, here, take this invite, check out the server, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, and then I don't even know whether, am I on NDA on this server?
Yeah, is this public?
I don't even
Can
know.
I tell?
I have no idea. Exactly.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
there's so much being done. The community's blown up. The community
Yeah.
stepped up this year. It's awesome.
Oh, well, man, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. It's good to, I think, just run through some of these problems or ideas or just thoughts people are having because you get stuck in your own bubble sometimes. Even just chatting, you're like, my way is the right way. I think this is happening. But when you just start to talk it out with people or even hear other people's opinions about it, you feel better about, I don't know, the game and what you're doing and almost re-energized too on some degree.
For sure. I'll finish off with saying a couple of things. One, it is really important to kind of keep your mind open and listen. But I know everybody has been keeping their mind open. But it is really important to just kind of try to take a more macro view of things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Decompress, but also still again get back to the things that you feel really need to be addressed. Let SEFC know because we have a relationship with them unlike any other community I've been a part of. Two, the last thing I'll say is I'm going to do a pitch. Pacific Northwest Vainglory, we've been doing great, especially in Portland and in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do much better. And so right now I feel like I've underperformed in like West Canada, so British Columbia and Alberta. And I just want to let the players know I really want to get events going there if you guys would like to. And so please check out Pacific Northwest Vainglory for that. Also, the weirdest regions you might not know that we also cover. We'd love to do stuff with Hawaii. We'd love to do stuff with Nevada.
Okay.
So I know these are remote places and surprising to people, but we do have players. Everybody
Vegas
loves
meetup sounds pretty good.
Vegas meetup would be amazing, but we even have players in Reno.
Yeah.
We've got like Wookiee Force over there. Let's give Wookiee some more love.
There we go.
But anyhow, and Ben Smith. So that said, thank everybody. Everyone's been really great to me about Pacific Northwest Vainglory. I appreciate it. I just want to make things even more better. So I hope if I'm really let's go do this and let's go do events and stuff like that. I hope it doesn't scare people off too much. But it's I think it's a good thing, and I think the game benefits from it. And it's something that SMC might not have the resources to do or have the ROI might not be the best for them for that, but it's something we can do.
For sure. So what's the Discord link? I'll include links in the show notes and in the post. But yeah, if people are just listening, if they're in their car and they're like, "Oh, what is that?" I can grab that.
It's actually pretty easy to say this one. So it's discord.me/ and then Pacific Northwest is PNW, and then Vainglory is VG. So it's discord.me/PNW-VG.
There you go. So join it up when you're not driving, but join it up, check it out, especially if you're in that area at all. But you can join even if you're not. There's friends from afar.
Yeah, if you're driving, please do not be using your phone right now.
Cool. And then Shatter the Vain is on Twitter at Shatter the Vain, website shatterthevain.com. All the episodes are posted there, links to iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version. Check out the show notes as well, because links to all the stuff we talked about, like Time for Rolling, these other Discord servers, Pacific Northwest, Vainglory Twitter, everything's there, so check that out. And I'll be back next week with episode 153. Take care.
Let's get this over with.